been a while.
It is. Yeah, pre-COVID, wasn't it?
It was, indeed, yeah. Looking at this squad, Wayne, 2 uncapped players. Given the way the Six Nations finished for you, a lot of people thought there would be more of a refresh in this squad. Is it a more cautious approach you've gone for?
Well, there is a bit of a refresh as well with, the likes of George North coming back in. There are some players that have been out of the game for a little bit of time that are pretty near. We looked long and hard at the performances, obviously, in the Six Nations. We've obviously got the World Cup in mind, which now is only about 15, 16 months away. So there's a bit of looking ahead to the big stage of the Rugby World Cup. We've invested time in a lot of players over the last few years. So it's really a juggling act of who we think on form deserves to be there, and also, thinking ahead to what we think we want and need at the Rugby World Cup. So it's really a combination of things. There are obviously some players clearly unavailable through injury as well.
You mentioned George North. Good to see him back. How ready is he for international rugby, particularly playing on hard grounds against the world champions?
Yeah, like a number of players who have sustained injury, and there's some that are out at the moment that won't be playing this weekend, but we've still got a good number of weeks together in camp. The boys will be worked really, really hard there. George has got another opportunity this weekend. So we think and believe that the S&C team and our medical team will have these guys ready to go, and certainly they've been canvassed across the selection process.
In terms of omissions, you haven't included Jonathan Davis. You brought him back during the Six Nations, having left him out previously. Is this the end for Jonathan Davis as far as Wales are concerned?
No, I've had a good chat to Jonathan. Look, he was unavailable when we first came in through injury after the last World Cup. He's had some big injuries in his career. He's come back each time and worked very, very hard to get back into the squad. We had a chat around him having a big off-season now, with next season being a huge season for everybody, obviously. Look, we wanted to bring George back in. We explained that Nick Tompkins is playing very well. Owen Watkin we thought did a very good job in the Six Nations, and particularly defensively. And so it was really an opportunity to have a look at Johnny Williams, who's back from injury as well. And we know pretty much everything we need to know about Jonathan. So it's really get yourself ready to go for a big start to next season to push for the autumns and beyond.
So it'd be wrong to write him off. You don't think you've capped him for the last time?
We certainly haven't written him off, and that's what I've told him. So he knows that form will be really important at the start of next season, leading into those first internationals.
Can you talk a little bit about those new caps, Wayne? The 2 guys you've included, Tommy Reffel and James Ratty?
Yeah, well, James, we had a good look at in the environment in the Six Nations. He's a young guy that worked very, very hard. He certainly applied himself well, did everything that we asked him to do. He just didn't get the opportunity. We didn't think he was quite ready then. And with injury and some form that he's shown in recent weeks, we believe he deserves an opportunity. And you'll see we've picked 2 7s, 2 8s and 2 6s. So he's one of the 2 8s we've selected.
And somebody like Jack Morgan, who looked as if you were going down that path with him, he suddenly finds himself out of the squad, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, 2 things really. Had a good chat to Jack around what we want him to do in the off-season, and that's a big work on in terms of what he can do in the strength and conditioning area. The game's a really physical game. Where we're going, South Africa, a lot of very, very big men. So what we've asked him to do is to improve, if he can, in that area of physicality when he's over the ball, being even stronger than he is. And so he'll go away and work hard at his game. I know that. He's a young guy, and he's desperate to get back into the side, so it's all ahead of him. Tommy Reffel is a person we spoke about probably before the Six Nations, and it was touch and go, and we went with the local boys for the obvious reasons that have been mentioned previously. But he's now been in form week in and week out in a pretty tough competition, and a team that's playing well. He's full of confidence, and we think now's the right time to put him into the squad and see how he goes at this level.
And as far as the captaincy is concerned, Alan Wynne-Jones is in the squad but not captain. Do you think Alan has captained Wales for the last time?
No, I don't think so. Look, we've said it before, whenever you write Al off, he comes back and proves people wrong. He hasn't had a lot of rugby. We had a good conversation around the topic. Al is obviously a leader by the way he trains, the way he performs on the park, has done for many, many years. So we don't expect that to change. He's going to come in, focus on getting his role, playing to the best of his ability in the second row role. And then we'll go from there in terms of selection and see how the 3 second rows or 4 second rows shape up. But in terms of Dan, we felt he did a good job, and together those guys have played many, many test matches, so they'll share the role, no doubt, throughout training and throughout the working week.
Would you like, in a perfect world, for Alan Wynne to play all 3 tests?
Oh, look, the perfect world would be every player putting their best foot forward, being available, no injuries in camp, solid training weeks, and everybody really putting their hand up and giving us tough decisions across all positions. That's really what we'd like. We haven't had that to date through a number of factors, really, but certainly that's what we'll be looking to try and achieve going forward.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Picking up on the captaincy, Wayne, is that an indication at all in terms of giving Dan the nod again, given that, and you've said yourself, I think, you're going to have to manage and look after Alan Wynne for the next 18 months through to France? There
are a lot of senior players in the group that we'll be looking to manage, and that's working with the clubs, not just in our environment. Look, Al's played, I think, 3 games since the Italy game. So he hasn't had a lot of rugby. He's had an illness thrown in there as well. So he's a little bit underdone, and he's got 6 weeks thereabouts to work hard and get back into the shape that he knows he can get into, and we know he can get into. And then I'm sure it's going to be some interesting training sessions ahead.
There's always pressure on yourself, on the squad as a whole. Has that intensified after the campaign and the last match?
Yeah, and as you would expect, because the most pressure for us, and we say this as coaches all the time, comes from within. We've had some robust discussions as a coaching group. We let the dust settle a bit because there was emotions were running pretty high right throughout the country, and rightly so, because that's a result that nobody is proud of, and certainly we didn't expect, and we have to take it on the chin. But the big thing is that we have those robust discussions. We learn as much as we can from the experience, and hopefully it makes us a better side going forward. And certainly that's the attitude we're taking. But yeah, it was a tough period of time, I've got to say, for everybody concerned. And what we want to do is turn that frustration, that emotion, if you like, into the hard work that's required, going to a place like South Africa.
Because there was criticism. Did that hurt? Did it hurt personally?
No, personal criticism doesn't hurt, because it's a job that that where everybody is watching your every move, and when you take these positions on, there's a responsibility that goes with it. Certainly, a loss to Italy was something that I hadn't really, it wasn't in my thought process, to be honest, without sounding arrogant. It was just, I believe we were good enough, we'd done enough work, and that we should have won that game, and could have won that game several times over. Fact is, we didn't, and so you take what comes with that, and a lot of it's justified.
Just a final one, a non-tour question. 3 years ago during the Six Nations, the regional rugby question came smack bang in the middle of that campaign. Again, it's come up. You're getting experience as the national coach of it now. How disappointed are you that it's again on the agenda?
Look, I think it needs to be on the agenda. I think the right people are dealing with it. And decisions for the future of the game in Wales are really, really important, obviously. So it's not something that you want to deal with in a knee-jerk reaction, if you like, to certain results. But the way we've been going at club level and some of our results at international level, it needs to be looked at seriously. And I think they're doing the right thing by having a look at it. What the outcome will be, I don't know that at this stage.
What sort of state is Josh Adams in, and do you expect him to be fit for the first test?
Yes. He's in good shape. He's from probably the club update a week or so ago. He's out running. He's running well, and our medical team have had the handover, if you like, from the Cardiff medical team, and he'll be in running with us from day one, and we expect him to be in full training and available for the first test.
So the player Will Rowlands is obviously younger. The shoulder issue was big for you in the Six Nations. Same question. Confident in?
Yeah, he's recovering really, really well. I did hear out of the Dragons that maybe even this weekend. So look, that suggests to me that he'll be fine for the camp and fine for availability for the first test, and that's certainly the information that we have.
Just last
I think it's probably the second largest squad to leave these shores on a summer tour. I think up until the New Zealand tour where they threw the Chiefs game in, so there's an extra game, they took a few more players than we're taking, but it's been 31 up to that point. So from our point of view, 33 replicates the Rugby World Cup. So it's good preparation for our coaching group, our management group, to work with that number away from home.